Hi, everybody. I'm Cara Ober, and I am here today to conduct an interview with a really fantastic Baltimore-based artist named Julia Kim Smith. So she currently has an exhibition up at Waller Gallery. It closes this Saturday night. I would be remiss if I did not mention that the closing includes a karaoke party. So put that on your calendar if you're free this Saturday and head over to Waller Gallery. So I want to set the scene. Um, when you step into Waller Gallery in the current exhibit called Transit, it initially appears, at least to me, to be a group show. So there are color photographs on the wall. There are large concrete letters proliferating across the floor. There are items of clothing. There are embroidered badges. And then there is this giant continuous ream of printed paper hanging from the ceiling that's covered in text. As you go down the hallway, there are what appear to be these hanging wall scrolls with calligraphic writing, so like ink brush writing, calligraphy. And then there's a back gallery. So there's a series of small red paintings done on maxi pads and tampons. There is more video. There are more garments. There are a series of tiny framed text-based internet searches, so arranged as an installation on the wall. There's a giant framed silhouette of a human figure, and at the very center, there is a selfie mirror with some text on the glass. And the selfie mirror piece is a sculpture that also includes a rope noose. It's on a mic stand, and there's a tiny little enameled American flag pin. So lots of symbols abounding. But for me, the sort of common denominator across all the work is this emphasis on printed text and language. So underlying all of that is the concept of transit, which is the name of the show, and that really connotes bodies in motion, migration, and then transition between places, cultures, and identities. So the person who created all of the work in the gallery is Baltimore-based artist Julia Kim Smith. And in the list of works provided by the gallery, she explains that the title of the show references Anna Seger's fictional novel titled Transit, which is based on the author's experience as a German refugee in France in the 1930s. So, in the 2013 reissue of the book, Peter Conrad states in his introduction, the novel's blunt but richly elusive title suggests that these are people in transition, not only between countries, they commute up and down on what theologians once saw as the chain of being, some aspiring to the status of spirit, others behaving and even coming to look like beasts. So, with that quote, with that title, with that sort of historic context of, immigration, being, forced to migrate or flee, we really set the stage for a very contemporary conversation across media with Julia Kim Smith. And this is Julia Kim Smith. She's an artist who has a fantastic show up right now at Waller Gallery, and we wanted to talk a little bit about this show called Transit.
Thank you, Kara.
So thanks for being with me today. And I know that for you, the title is sort of the key that ties all of the works together. So I sort of wanted to start there. And I know that the gallery released sort of a list of works and talked about the fact that this title is based on the title of a book
By
that
Anna
was.
Seegers, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, who had to flee what was about to become Nazi France through Marseille. It's a fictional book, but it spoke to me when I read the re-release in 2017 um, about refugees struggling to get out. And it spoke to me about my parents' own story, because when you're an immigrant, you often hear the good side, like after we came to the United States story, but a lot of the back side of the story of before we came to the United States doesn't get talked about. And I understand why, because if you're someone who's fleeing war or whatever, it's hard. So, yeah.
Do, can you share a little bit more about your family's own sort of transition story to the United States?
My parents left after the Korean War, and my mother was actually living in what became North Korea. So I think looking back, I think she's like PTSD, like just the way there's a lot of anxiety, which I couldn't really understand when I was growing up. Um, and then from talking to other people who have seen the show, or a lot of us start talking about generational trauma, which seems to be a common theme of something that's not spoken, but somehow as a child growing up, you sense it. Um, yeah,
And where did you grow up?
mostly in Indiana, which, if you can imagine, was really hard being one of the few Asians there.
And then how did you come to live in Baltimore?
Went to grad school, University of Michigan, and I met my husband actually in Indiana. And then we ended up together in Ithaca, whereas he was in grad school. And then
And
we
then,
ended up, he got the better job in Baltimore at Hopkins.
nice. So how long have you been in Baltimore?
Oh, decades. I'm not even gonna.
A while. So you're
Yeah,
officially a Baltimorean
yeah, yeah.
as much
Well,
as
you've seen my sticker too. Actually, yeah. Okay. We won't go there today though.
yes. Well, I only just realized this. So I will find an image and pull it up, but I've been seeing these stickers for years and
Yes.
years and
Yeah,
years, and I've been a fan of your work for years.
yeah,
So for
yeah.
anyone, including myself, just browsing in your website, the
Uh,
Baltimore dot dot dot,
uh,
actually, I like it.
yeah.
That's
Okay,
you.
it's a colon, not a dot dot dot. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah.
punctuation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I see that everywhere. I see it on cars all over the place. I've seen it for
Yeah, I've
years.
seen on variations which really crack me up. Like Baltimore, I fucking love it.
And it's like just this very simple, like an Arial sans serif font, something like
Uh,
that.
yeah,
How did
that's my designer background. So,
how did that even so and then you came up with the idea, you printed the bumper stickers, and then how did you put them out in the world?
um, I, I I reached out to Rachel at Atomic Books, and for a while she was giving them away for free, and then she says, people would actually pay for this, and I think they want to pay for this. So that's how it got started.
That's
So shout
amazing.
out to Rachel and Atomic Books.
Yeah, Rachel is amazing. They're a great distribution partner for us. And yeah, I mean, that's a great space to kind of just find all kinds of interesting zines, books, magazines,
It's a
printed materials.
well curated bookstore. We're lucky to have them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the thing that struck me when I first stepped into the transit show at Waller is that it sort of looks like it's a group show, right? Because the
Well,
work
that's
is
interesting.
so it's so visually, each body
Uh,
of work is so visually different. And I think a lot of artists are sort of married to a material, but I think you're really a conceptual artist.
mhm,
So you're exploring specific ideas and selecting materials based on the material's ability to sort of convey meaning.
right.
So we've got photography, we've got video, we've got garments, we've got concrete letters, we've got all kind of printed and research laden, sort of very dense
Mm,
collections of information. And so your background is, I didn't realize this also. So your background's in graphic design?
right. Right. And I mean, I was thinking about this. I think that explains why I work in so many different media. I didn't have formal art training in drawing or painting or all those things. So I just have to find the materials that I can work with. They tend to be inexpensive and simple. Like in this show, there's something that's printed on continuous feed dot matrix paper.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of using simple, inexpensive things because I think when I'm gone, I want to be able to recycle all this. So, oh, thanks for
Yeah.
bringing that up.
So here's the piece. What is the
Yeah.
title?
Yeah. Or concrete, which is also really inexpensive. Um, I was thinking about, but that's one thing that ties all my work together is the materials vary, but they tend to be simple and almost plain. And also what did Duchamp and the surrealists say, something about ready-made things, almost like grabbing a hand mirror and making a selfie mirror out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I can't remember that, what that was called, like not ready-made or
Yeah, I think
is it
ready-mades.
ready-made? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
The other
so
thing, okay, I'll just interrupt you. And then the
yeah.
text and I've always been in awe of the power of the word, and recently how it can be weaponized, and I use that in my work.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to scroll through some of these images from the Waller Gallery show just to show that we really just have such a range of designed and printed materials. And this body of work in particular
Okay,
is, I can see how it might make certain people uncomfortable. Um, but yeah, these maxi
no.
pads, like, can you talk about why you selected this material and what's the red stuff?
Okay, there's a history behind this. I was invited to screen my video Why at a show called Exquisite Course in the UK years ago. But it's right after, I'm trying to remember, Rupi Kaur, the poet. She
Mhm.
had posted on Instagram a piece, a photo of her period blood leaking through the back of her pants. And that was banned or censored or whatever on Instagram. And there was this outrage because there's all these other images of women, violent images, pornographic, and this is what they chose to ban, right?
Mhm.
So she was one of the exhibiting artists in the show. And in addition to exhibiting why, each of the artists in the show were invited to take over the Instagram feed of the gallery. So I decided to take Ruby's concept and then push it a little. Like I'm not just showing my period blood, I'm taking it, and it's actually fake blood because I had concerns with things rotting and
Yeah.
decaying. Yeah. And like using it as a medium. So that's the thought behind that.
And then what is the takeaway? So we've got text, we've got color blocks, we've got shapes. There's also this other piece that's on
There
an actual tampon over here that's red, white, and blue.
they're kind of punny, and I think kind of funny once you look at them. Like there's the first one up is in the series on the wall is Jesus pad, and it looks like Jesus. The second one is a Damien Hirst reference, the work with the dots. And the third one is Pantone, and I think it's 180, the color number.
Hmm.
The designers out there know Pantone is a matching system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next one is Paul McCartney and Wings, and that's Paul McCartney's signature, which I forged on on a pad with wings. And the last one is Supermoon.
I find these hilarious. I think the humor in a lot of these pieces is a dark humor. It's sort of a deadpan,
Uh,
intended to sort of use satire and humor to be, to address really serious issues. So I think, in this particular case, we're thinking about violence against women and what actually is considered acceptable to talk about in popular discourse. And,
right.
and I mean, I
Like,
don't know
well,
about you, but
violence against women, it's okay, but like something like menstrual blood, which is why is that taboo? That's like something that it's natural, that
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely 100% not violent,
yeah,
natural, but somehow
part of the
taboo and
reproductive
offensive. And
process.
I mean,
Right.
I just feel like, every TV show that I watch, every other show is like a woman is kidnapped, a woman is murdered, we're solving the mystery. And it's just like, if 50% of the women we knew all got murdered, like that, okay, fine. But like, why are all, anyway, I like that this is sort of like embracing the natural body's process as something that is, it's beautiful, it's expressive, it's not a taboo. And I think, in a lot of these pieces, you are
I think there's
addressing.
also a data element of this is so ridiculous that they're banning her that I'm just going to go completely extreme, hopefully, and also hopefully be a little bit funny about it.
No, I do find them hilarious. I thought this particular body of work also was really interesting and funny, and I think it sort of exemplifies this approach that you have of like mining online data. So I wonder if we
Right.
could talk about
This was
this.
way back in 2010, I forget, 2010 maybe, where I I did a Google search of what people were wondering about Asian women, and all this stuff popped out that was kind of a surprise to me. But then I started wondering, what are people wondering about other groups, right? And it was really interesting and kind of funny. So
So
it was
what were
interesting that
they?
the way that we give away all this information back then, that we can, I mean, now everyone, we talk about it a lot, but back then it was like, there are privacy concerns now, but back then people were just putting stuff out there on the internet.
And so with this, I mean, it's, what do Asian women want, or what do black men want, or what do
Uh,
white women want? And I think, it's like the responses that Google generated in response to sort of like
to what other
completing the
people have been,
sentence.
right, what other people are looking for.
And what do you think, what did this reveal to you in this process?
That we have a lot of misconceptions about each other. And we do, but we also wonder a lot about each other, which I think that's a good thing. But yeah, hopefully it'll spark discussion. Like, and I know it has, like, somebody asked his friend, like, because it says, why do Latinos like Morrissey? So we did, like, ask him, and his friend said, yeah, that's actually a thing. So yeah.
Huh. Okay. And I feel like in some of these other text pieces too, we're sort of jumping into other kinds of searches. I found um, this piece to be really, really
Okay.
interesting.
You want to know what that is? It was originally
Yeah.
called Donor, but it was in the show called The Man I Wish I Was. So I renamed it to that because I thought donor was too much a giveaway in the title. They're sperm donor descriptions, men of Korean descent. And this is also a piece from, I don't know, tw the early 20 aughts or whatever. But when the information I could find in public on the sperm bank, right? So I got all the descriptions and created a silhouette of a man. And there's more to the backstory. My parents wanted a son and they thought I'd be the son, but I
Mm.
wasn't the son. So I was the daughter. I created the son that they
The,
always wanted. There,
so
you,
the
you know, there's a huge preference for male heirs in Korea.
so all of this text are from actual sperm donor daddy descriptions.
Yeah, and I don't know how much it can. It seems like they were edited because they were all so similar, like in the wording, but it's things like. It almost reminded me of well, not that I've been on a dating site, but like I've been to this college, my GPA is this, these are my sports and hobbies. Like I'm smart, but I'm also sporty, all of them. So yeah.
Everybody wants a well-rounded daddy. You want someone who's
Yeah.
going to succeed. So with this one, I felt like the text was very sort of like prescriptive and ideal, and then compared to the Matrix printer piece suspended from the ceiling,
New World
Mom's New
Dictionary.
World Dictionary is what it
Right.
says at the top.
And and you can't see it, it's behind the black curtain there, but my mom's actual dictionary that I took the words from is behind that. Yeah. And I was over at her house, sparking joy, by cleaning up, and I happened to look at her dictionary and realized she had marked over the years all these words. Like it's been a challenge for her to learn English. And my sister and I, well, okay, the way daughters can be really critical of their mom, because this is going to sound mean. We're like, my sister, why isn't her English any better? But then I looked at this dictionary and realized it's not like she hasn't been trying. She's really been trying.
Wow. So this is really sort of a depiction of this monumental labor of acquiring new language and the struggle to do so.
Right. And also, I think the process of assimilation. And I wanted to use the continuous feed paper just to suggest the scope of her work and her struggle. And then Joy in the gallery pointed out, it's actually a really heavy piece when you lift up the box. It's like, 55 pounds of paper.
Paper is heavy.
I like the
It
way it's both
definitely.
heavy, but it also has a memory that's really fragile, you
Hmm.
know? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think this does sort of encapsulate both of those things. Like the weight and the accumulation kind of gives it the heft, but then the flimsiness of the sort of, cheap printer dot matrix paper that we all remember
Right.
from the 90s is like this throwaway thing.
Okay, but
Um,
I have to mention that is archival acid free. I had to It's not easy to find that dot matrix paper that is archival. So,
Yeah. So all you museum curators, take note. This is archival.
right.
And then next to it, this is just a little section of the concrete poetry, which I should say is a project that you've sort of had as an ongoing thing at the
It
Ivy
is,
Bookshop in their
yeah, it
garden.
is still there. And can I just give a little plug? There's an event in April that we're having with the
Yeah.
poet, I think it's Annie Mar Hefka. Her new chapbook Baltimore's coming out, and she'll be giving a reading, weather permitting, at the installation. And I'm going to do something with the letters, drawing from her chapbook on the site. So. But in
So
this instant, I've taken a quote from Kathy Park Hong. Um, she wrote Minor Feelings, an Asian American Reckoning, and it's it's something a friend had said to her, and he had good intentions. He said, "I feel like your people are next in line to be white," and again, we can also talk about back up and talk about Taylor Branch and how race is a social construct, but I'll move forward now and say what she thought was when she hears that is I'm next in line to disappear, that, I will like, I'd have to read the whole quote. I'm not going to mangle it, but it's a really beautiful quote.
So when you read this in the gallery, on one side it says, in these concrete letters that came from where? Where did these letters? Can I just buy them online or something?
No,
Or
no, no. I had to research this and learn how to get the molds, cast. It was quite a process. So.
oh wow, so you're casting the concrete yourself.
Yeah, okay, I have to shout out John Eichelberger, who is an
Yeah.
artist. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, he helped he's my printer, and he told me, oh, but one of my hobbies is casting concrete. And I remembered that. So I told him, could you teach me how to do this? So he helped me figure it out. So, but I've been
So
doing it after he taught me, and it is okay, I'm not a big person. It is physically hard work, Garrett. Like
yeah.
I had to find the smallest bag of concrete, which is still 50 pounds, right? And anyway, yeah, it's like, go ahead, sorry.
So you have a mold for every letter that you're
Right.
using to cast specific phrases. Then do you like recycle the letters into new phrases or you're completely
I
making
cast a
each
whole
one?
alphabet. Like I looked at Scrabble and some other source to come up with a collection of over 100 letters, and they're at the Ivy Bookshop in the garden there.
And what kind of phrases are you using there compared to this, specifically
Uh,
about assimilation and disappearing?
Oftentimes it's excerpt from an author, a noted author. Because we've had who else other than Kathy? We've had James Baldwin. We've had I'm forgetting his name now. He'll come to me later. And it's also on the Instagram for concrete poetry. But and then once in a while we invite local poets. So we had and I think we're gonna make this an April National Poetry thing. So last year it was David Bodwin
Hmm.
sharing his work.
Amazing. So another collaboration with a local Baltimore bookshop.
Right. Baltimore poet at the Ivy Bookshop.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that you're finding this space and support within these independent booksellers.
Yeah, yeah. The Ivy is pretty cool because their space acts as a arts incubator. I don't know if people know that. You go into the gardens there. I think there are at least two other projects in there.
That's amazing. Well, so the show has been up for about a month at Waller Gallery, which is
Right.
in Lower Charles Village. It's kind of near where my office is. Um, and it's a show that encompasses about what, 10 years of sort of different bodies
Yeah,
of
a little
work.
over, could it be 10 more or more years? Yeah.
And some of the work is specifically, there's some work that's sort of overt political protest. I'm thinking about the selfie mirror. I'm thinking about some of the garments where,
Right.
this is one in particular where you can see the tags are still on the clothing, and it's
It's
Ivanka
Ivanka.
Trump brand
Hmm.
clothing, where you have then added this text on top, correct?
That's correct. That's from 2017 and was inspired when Kellyanne Conway, who was then secretary, gave a shout out for Ivanka's brand, which I mean, now in with everything else that has happened, that seems pretty mild, but that, okay, I'm going to buy her stuff and I'm going to spray paint it and create something that I could wear to a protest. So,
So protest fashion, and then this is the piece that I feel like I saw this a few years back in a show that was on North Avenue.
Labadies,
Yeah,
Ada Kingston and
and Hosey.
Percy. Yeah.
I curated that. So this is actually a
Yeah.
selfie mirror. So when you step up to it, you see your face in that circle, and you know that text is on top of your
Hmm.
face. So I wonder if we could kind of end with this piece and what
That
this
those words are
does.
actually by Blythe Roberson. She's a writer, and I read an essay of hers in the New Yorker about something how I'm going to prepare for I'm mangling the title, the Trump presidency. And she said, every day I'm going to look in the mirror and remind myself, in Trump's America, I'm worth nothing, which really resonated with me because I felt with all the rhetoric before his election and then when he got elected was, I felt like as an immigrant, a child of immigrant and a person of color, like all the effort and work to be a good citizen, to be a good person had just been zeroed out. So somehow that phrase resonated with me. So I decided to create this, make it in the form of a person, American flag, um, news.
And then these are, to me, this is in this sort of similar vein as the bumper stickers. So these are available for like what, $10 or
$10. Yeah.
something in the gallery. So this is a frame version, but we've got these little embroidered patches.
Right. It's sort of what I think of one of my ready-made pieces. Like I found someone who could do this, mass produced it. Um, I don't know, my sister and I were thinking, do you think we could lose our birth rates? I mean, we were just sort of joking, and then it's being challenged now, like for
Mhm.
future Americans,
It's really
which,
crazy. It's so
yeah,
sad, but
I don't know, it
uh,
infuriates me.
yeah, yeah,
And I
and
think, and in the most recent, I think the most recent statement, I actually thought, oh, maybe I should release a statement about why this show and why now. Um, It's because I remember, because my parents are Korean immigrants, I remember growing up that it wasn't cool to be from Korea. You know, it was one of the poorest countries in the world. It was one of the least developed. Um, and I remember being told to go back and back where I came from, which I was born here. So, so when I see similar things happening and our own government encouraging it and
yeah.
vilifying immigrants, it just enrages me.
It's like we all, or people could just put this on their chest when they're going about their
Right,
daily business
right.
so that ICE will not target them, right? Like we have
Yeah.
to now prove,
Yeah.
if
I
you
don't
look a
think that
certain
be,
way.
you've got to carry, I don't know. I have friends who are carrying their passports now. Huh?
So this really, I feel like, speaks quite eloquently to the time that we're living in, how much things, how far we've fallen from
Yeah.
this sort of ideal of America. And I like the symbolic red, white, and blue that this is sort of something we can all say,
Right.
everybody here is a birthright citizen. Everyone
Right.
here is an immigrant in some way. Um,
Right. Or they were enslaved and brought here, it's just,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So the show is coming to a close this weekend.
Saturday.
You're having a little event. It sounds like a lot of fun. So I feel like karaoke is one of my very favorite things, and
Well, it's too bad you can't come. I know there's a lot of competition out there. Isn't Micah having?
yeah, Micah's doing their 200th anniversary thing. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot. I mean, there's always a lot going on, but that yeah, Saturday there's
Yeah.
that. But I think uh karaoke is something that like I've gravitated to as an adult. And growing up, that wasn't sort of in my family's tradition, but I had a really good friend growing up whose parents were from the Philippines, and they would have these parties, and they would always have these karaoke rooms like in their house, and it would be like all these people singing and like older people and
It is so much fun. And I am the worst singer and I don't drink, but it doesn't stop me.
yeah, same. I don't know why. It's like kind of thrilling to stand up to the mic and to sort of like belt out the song, even if you know you're terrible. even if it's not great. There's just something very,
I think
I don't
it's
know,
the
you're in the
gathering of
moment.
people. You're all together, you're singing,
Yeah.
you feel like you're in a safe space because you're being super vulnerable and singing really badly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're all I don't know. It's not like Stockholm syndrome, but there is like this sense that like we're all in
Yeah.
this together and even if you're at a bar and you don't know
Yeah.
anyone, like we're standing up and becoming vulnerable in front of
Yeah.
one another. So I feel
Yeah.
like that really encourages
Uh,
this bonding through art.
yeah.
And I really do think that that's sort of the primary purpose of art, to bring people together and force them into, conversations and thinking that they might not normally have. And it can be confrontational and it can be stressful, but it can also just be a lot
Yeah.
of fun and funny.
Yeah, I agree. That's an important role of art. I just want Wesley Yang and his Souls of Yellow Folk essay book. It's a bunch of essays, but he was writing about Asian Americans, but I think it could fit any group. And he was like saying too many of us. He was being kind of critical. Too many of us are becoming doctors and engineers, and he says, I understand why, but we also need. It's very important to have the artists and writers out there because until we get our stories out there and share them, we're always going to be viewed as the worker or bees or the help, right? And I think that's really true. Like it's the arts and what artists and writers bring to us that humanizes us to each other. And I think that's really important. That's why Waller Gallery and a lot of other the art venues in town are so important, like sharing our stories and our humanity.
And thinking about how that's going to affect the next generation and those that come after as well. I
Yeah,
mean, I think, we're always sort of in the present tense with our art,
yeah,
but when you go to museums and you're in a space where there are things created hundreds and sometimes thousands of years ago, like that artist, that still has the ability to speak to us.
yeah,
So, you just never know. You never know what kind of impact you're going to have.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I appreciate the specificity and also the fearlessness that your work brings.
Ah, thank you. And thank you for speaking with me.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
good to
for
be seen
speaking
and
with
heard.
me.